Oh, bitch. I've been gone for about a week, so by the time I edit this and upload it, it'll probably be like 7 or 8 days since my last video, so I wanted to kind of take a look at, how your person, how you see your person, how they present themselves to you, to the outside world, and then versus how they actually are, how they actually behave to those that are close to them. This will be especially helpful if you don't really know your person that well, if you haven't really talked to them, or in those circumstances. So we have 4 piles here today, as usual. I will insert a picture right here so you guys can see all the piles close up. We have pile 1, 2, 3, and 4. Intuition, love, communication, and spiritual awareness. So go ahead and pick your pile and we will get started. So if you chose pile 1, then this is your reading. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently in this video, and I'm actually going to lay all of the cards out and then we're going to discuss. So I will be right back. Up here we have how you see them. Here we have how they actually are, and then over here and over here we have a little bit of additional information about the situation and your person. So you guys chose intuition. So we're going to get back to that in a second when we talk about how they actually are. First, with Mercury retrograde reinvention, I feel like you see this person as a bit fumbly with their words. I feel like you see them as they might have like a speech thing, they might have like a speech impediment or like a lisp or something like that, but there's something with their speech here. Maybe they're just not a very good communicator. They may not be able to, with the 7 of Cups here, I feel like they may not be able to express their feelings as well as they would like to, or you would like them to. I feel like they do have an issue with communication here. With Fool, I feel like I'm really being drawn to the picture here. I feel like this person, wears a mask, and I feel like you can kind of see through that mask. You can kind of see beneath that mask. Here we have the mask of the smiling, happy face. I feel like this person puts on a very happy, like sunshiny persona. But beneath that, the jester here is crying. So I do feel like they are quite sensitive, much more feeling than they let on. And I feel like you can kind of see that. I feel like you kind of see beneath this mask or this persona that they put on for other people. I do feel like they are quite a bit of a jokester. Even if they can't communicate very well with others, maybe they may not be able to communicate their feelings, but they are quite the jokester. They do have a lot of, I feel like you perceive them as quite funny. I feel like you like their sense of humor. Now, Leo here, I feel like Leo kind of goes with the Emperor as well. So we're going to talk about Leo and the Emperor together. The Emperor is Aries energy, right? The Emperor is, I feel like you perceive this person as quite fatherly. They may literally be a father, and if they are, then you see that. But if they are not already a father, then you kind of perceive them as being that they would be a good father, that they would be a good like caregiver for your children or whoever's children. But I do feel like Leo is quite a warm, generous energy. I feel like you see them as quite warm, very giving, very generous, especially with the Emperor here. But I also feel like you can see them as a bit controlling. There's a lot of ego here, a lot of ego. I feel like you think that they have quite a big ego. I feel like you think they have quite a big ego. They have, I'm hearing you perceive them as having a lot to learn, especially with the Fool here. You may see them as being very prideful as well, perhaps a little bit controlling, maybe even a little bit bossy. But yeah, I feel like you see them as being very fiery, very, very, I feel, I'm hearing like protector. I feel like you feel like they would be a good protector or like a father figure. With the 7 of Cups, I feel like you think that they're in their head a lot. I feel like you think that they, you could see that they may have a lot of options, especially with the Devil here. You may perceive them as having a lot of suitors. You may perceive them as having a lot of like sexual experience, especially with the Emperor and Leo here. There's a lot of fire energy, a lot of fire. So I feel like you kind of perceive them as being quite sexual. You may even perceive them as having some kind of addiction. This could be if this is like a third party thing, then you may see them as kind of a temptation that you're not really supposed to. I just feel like there's this element of them that you feel as though you shouldn't really be engaging in. There's this part, there's this piece of them that you shouldn't, they're kind of an apple that you shouldn't be biting. I feel like you feel like they're an apple you should not be biting for whatever reasons. But you also feel as though they are, they have quite a lot of options. I feel like you see them as quite, very like sexually experienced, but I also feel like you kind of perceive them as being in their head a lot. Even in this one, she kind of looks like she's thinking. So I feel like you kind of see them as being quite a deep thinker. I feel like you think they get kind of stuck in their head and they don't really take action because they get so stuck in their head. How they actually are, Capricorn in Aries energy here. Now, Aries is the Emperor and Capricorn is the devil. So I do feel as though you have a fairly good grasp of who they are. I feel like we have some duplicating energies here. They are quite passionate. I feel like Aries and Capricorn kind of, they have a similar feel to them. They are quite a hard worker. I feel like this person would be the person who puts work and career above most things. I feel like they take their career, their job very, very seriously. I feel like they don't really like things that interfere with their job. They have a lot of very big goals that they're passionate about. This Aries energy is quite fiery, very much a go-getter. Aries can be a bit cold, as well as Capricorn as well. This Capricorn Aries energy can be a bit cold. It can be a bit closed off. They are quite a hard worker. You know, Capricorn is Saturn. Saturn is quite a stable energy. They're quite the provider, very much a family person. So I do feel like you are quite on the money with that. Very like supportive, very, I feel like this person likes to be the, if they are a masculine, they like to take on that masculine role. They like to be the provider. They like to provide for the person that they are with. I feel like they are quite traditional in that way. Capricorn is very traditional. The Emperor can be very traditional as well. I feel like they, when they're with someone, they like to provide for them. With Gambler here, Gambler is an interesting energy. They may literally gamble. Again, we talked about addiction over here, so they may literally gamble. But we do have the light attribute is willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. So I do feel like we have intuition here 3 times. So I feel like this person has a very good intuition, even if they don't necessarily express that intuition. They have a very good grasp. I feel like their intuition kind of leads them, be it unknowingly, but their intuition does lead them in a lot of their life, a lot of their everyday things that they do. I'm not quite sure that they like to kind of experiment a lot, because we do have this very grounded energy of Capricorn. I feel like they're willing to try. I feel like they're willing to try things for the sake of saying they tried them, if anything, even if they don't necessarily like it or change their routine already to do that. We have the High Priestess here. So this person is quite intuitive. They're a very, very intuitive person. Again, we have intuition as well as the overall energy. So I do feel like this person is quite intuitive, much more intuitive than they initially let on. Yeah, very, very intuitive energy. And I feel like you are kind of quite on the money here with, the 7 of Cups, and then we have the 9 of Swords. I feel like this person does tend to get in their head, and they tend to, they have a lot of anxiety. I feel like they allow their anxiety to kind of run their decision making. Yeah, and they can be a bit, I feel like they can be a bit inconsistent with the Knight of Swords here. I feel like they can be a bit, if they are a bit, if they are a bit fumbly with their words, with Mercury retrograde, they do have that Aries influence. They may be a bit harsh. They may say things and then kind of regret them, especially when they get upset. If they get angry, then they may tend to say things out of anger or spite. and then feel bad about it, or want to kind of retract it or put a band-aid on it and make it better. Now, when it comes to these cards, these additional cards over here, we have the Seven of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. I want to talk about engagement really quickly. We have delays and blocks, and we also have engagement. So if this is third party, then this person may be engaged, and that may be the blockage. If this is third party, if this is not third party, then this could have the potential for something long term, especially since we do have the Four of Wands here. This definitely does have some potential, but just because you are seeing them as the Emperor doesn't mean that they are the Emperor, right? Doesn't mean that we can't marry, we can't commit to potential. We can only commit to what is actually there, what we are actually seeing. So just because you see this Emperor potential in them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they will step up to that role. Just a little tidbit. But this does have the potential for something good, but there are delays and blocks. I do feel like there is a lot of karma and a lot of healing that needs to take place here before anything solid can happen. If something solid does happen, it will take some time and some patience in order to grow with the Seven of Pentacles here. This does have the potential to be good. We have the Four of Wands, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So this does have the potential to grow into something more solid, but I do feel like it will take quite a bit of patience and quite a bit of nurturing for it to grow. This person does seem a bit fumbly. I feel like they kind of get in their own way sometimes, especially with Gambler here. They don't really look where they're going. They just kind of do things and hope it works out. So that may be to their downfall, to the situation's downfall. But we do have conclusions are within reach here. So I do feel as though if either this situation is going to, reach engagement, these blockages are going to be cleared, and you guys are going to have a nice Four of Wands happy family with this person very soon, or if you guys are in separation with this person, then the separation will end quite soon as well, or some kind of conclusion will be reached. You may have closure or some kind of full circle completion, the World card will happen with this person very soon. I don't feel the need for any type of clarifier, but just for funsies, let's get maybe see one or two cards for any additional, I said one or two, for any additional information on the situation. Okay. This person does want to come forward. So you may be the Queen of Wands. This person may be the Queen of Wands. Someone is in their Queen of Wands energy right now, very sexy, very confident. And someone was wanting to come forward with a Knight of Cups offer. Now, the Knight of Cups, again, is not something super stable, but they are wanting to come forward with some kind of romantic offer. This always kind of reminds me of, it's a very Casanova, poetic type of energy. So this is a very hopeless romantic type of feel. Yeah, they're wanting to move towards you. They're definitely wanting to move towards you, whether or not it's something solid. Because I do feel like this is something quite past life. This could be a past life connection. This could be someone from your past. But yeah, clarify this, please. Clarify the Six of Cups. Whoa. Yeah, so you may have cut them off. You may have walked away from this person in a very sharp Queen of Swords type of way. You may have cut them off, and I feel like it caused them quite a bit of pain. Or maybe they cut you off, and someone walked away from someone here, someone cut someone off quite abruptly, and it caused quite a bit of suffering. So I feel like they want to come back, they want to make an entrance. I feel like they've kind of been thinking on it, they've been kind of like contemplating on it, and I do feel like they are wanting to come back, whether or not that will be something consistent. I'm not sure because they do, well, yeah, they definitely want to offer, the Four of Wands flipped over, so they definitely want to offer, this situation. I'm just not quite sure if they, because, we do have the Knight of Swords here. The Knight of Swords can be a bit fumbly, a bit inconsistent here, especially with the Knight of Cups. We don't really have, they do have Capricorn energy, they do have, they have the potential to be that Emperor, but I'm not quite sure if they're there yet because they do have night energy. So yeah, but anything else for the situation before I close? I don't think so. I'm hearing you're just going to have to wait and see. So yeah, they definitely want to make an offer, but again, it's a page. It's a page, so it's nothing. I don't feel like this person. They're wanting to offer something a bit more consistent. They're wanting to come back and offer you this happy family, but they're showing up as a knight. They're showing up as a page. They're not really showing up as the emperor or a king just yet. I'm hearing that they're working on it. So, you know, if you are wanting this Four of Wands with them, then you are going to have to be patient with them. You are going to have to kind of work on it with them, because I just feel like they're a bit fumbly, and they fumble over themselves a lot. Okay, but they are feeling quite left out in the cold without you in their life. So they are wanting to come back around and make you some kind of offer. So yeah, that is what I have for you, pile 1. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. So if you guys chose pile 2, then this is your reading. I'm going to do things a little bit differently today. I'm going to lay the cards out, and then we're going to start talking just to save on a little bit of time. So I will be right back. Right here is how you perceive your person. Here's how they actually are, and then over here is some additional information and some things that will kind of help, additional information about your situation with this person. So, you perceive this person in a very interesting way. I feel like you see this person as quite sharp. You see them in a quite sharp way. I feel like you see them with third house messages here. You see them, especially with the Knight of Swords combination here. I feel like you see them as quite... I feel like you see them as a communicator, but you might see them as a bit inconsistent with their communication, or at least with their communication style. You may see them as a bit inconsistent, but I do feel like you see them quite as, quite good at communicating. Now, with this God card here, that's a very interesting energy to see someone as. I feel like you put this person, and especially with the Four of Wands combination here, I feel like you put this person on quite a pedestal. I feel like you think very highly of this person. You may see them as quite spiritual. You might even see them as kind of like a step above you. You might see them as having mastered something that you haven't quite yet mastered. I feel like the pedestal that you've put them on is quite high. With the Ten of Swords here, I do feel like you see them as a bit, maybe a bit betrayed, maybe a bit emotional. We don't really have, I don't feel like you see them as emotional, but you see them as being victimized or betrayed. Maybe you feel like they have a lot of anxiety with the swords here. Maybe you feel like they might communicate that anxiety a lot. They might talk about that anxiety with others. I want to talk about this Mars card here, because this is the one, when we get into kind of who they actually are, this is the one card that I feel like has the most distinct difference. Mars is a very masculine energy. Mars is very yang. It's very in your face. I feel like you see this person as very driven, very fiery, very passionate. They could be a bit forceful as well sometimes. They could be a bit kind of like, well, this is, especially with the Knight of Swords, you may see them as kind of like, well, this is what I want, and that's what I want, and I'm going to get it. Mars is a very intense energy. Mars is the warrior, right? So Mars is very, you might even see them as having overcome a lot of betrayal, a lot of heartache, and they're kind of, I feel like you may see them as having overcome a lot of battles in their life, a lot of life issues. You might even see them as a bit beaten down with the Ten of Swords here. So it's interesting. I find it interesting that you guys have love as this overall energy here. I feel like you put this person on quite a high pedestal. I feel like I've already said that, but the pedestal here is pretty high with the God card, and then we also have the Four of Wands. You may feel like this person is I'm hearing like a match made in heaven. Like you might see that this person is, now the Four of Wands is about home and family, right? So you may see this person, this person may have home issues, or they may have like, they might even have like with this Ten of Swords, they might even talk about their home issues and how much it bothers them. And with the Four of Wands, I do feel like you do see this person as, if there are, you know, love feelings here, I feel like you do see, this is a more romantic thing, then I do feel like you see this person kind of as like, it could be, I feel like you see the potential here. You see the potential. I feel like they are quite friendly. You know, that Gemini, this is two air energy here. Two air energies, Gemini and Aquarius. So I do feel as though you guys, you may have more of a friendship surface level connection here. They may be quite giving and loving with their friends. They may have a lot of friends, or they may, on the opposite end, they may have not a lot of friends at all, or you may just have a very friendly connection with them. When it comes to God versus Virgin here, they are quite, I feel like this person, now the way that you perceive this person is quite sharp, but this person is actually quite softer. They have a quite, there's a lot of like red and orange up here, and down here there's a lot of blue and like a much softer energy. So I feel like you perceive this person in a much more Mars or Yang way, when they are quite, they're quite yin, they're quite feminine. Virgin here, they may be a bit reserved. I get that, like, this person, they could literally be a virgin, but if they are not, then they may be a bit like hard to get. They may be a bit more reserved sexually, and especially when we get into some cards over here, I feel like that's because they have quite a high sense of like respect for their body in that way. They don't really, I don't really feel like this person is open sexually to many people. As far as, you know, not on like sexual intimacy, I do feel like this person is, I feel like this person is actually just quite reserved. I feel like this person is much more reserved. I feel like they are friendly, but I do feel like they are more reserved than you may be seeing them to be. I feel like they especially when we get into this Mars versus water energy. Now, I feel like this person has quite an interesting blend. They're coming up, which we'll get to in just a second, but they're coming up as the Empress and the King. So I feel like they have a fairly good blend of masculine, feminine, yin and yang energy. I feel like they are able to kind of like turn the switch quite well. I feel like they may even present themselves in a more Mars or masculine way. When underneath they have quite a watery, very emotional nature to them. This could be somewhat protective. This could be, they could present themselves in a masculine way to protect this very sensitive, very intuitive water energy that they have more naturally. If you know their birth chart, then you may know, like to use myself as an example, I have a lot of Mars energy. I have a first house stellium, which is Mars, which is Aries and Mars. My Aries moon is in the 8th house. The 8th house is Scorpio, which is traditionally ruled by Mars. My dominant planets are the Sun and Pluto, Sun, Mercury, Pluto, and my dominant signs are Virgo, Aries, and Scorpio. So I have an intense amount of Martian energy, but then I also have Cancer, Libra, and Virgo, which adds this softness, and I have a Leo rising. Leo is the sun, it's masculine energy, so I present myself in a very masculine way. My nature when it comes to groups and the way that I introduce people, I introduce myself to people is incredibly masculine. It's a very more dominant energy. I tend to speak very loudly. I'm kind of loud. I tend to be very assertive. I can assert myself well, but when I'm more on my own, or when I'm with people that I'm comfortable allowing this water energy to emerge, that Cancer, Libran, Virgo, Mercurial energy to come out, I'm much softer, much more caring, much more demure, much more. I allow my femininity, that yin energy, to play out a bit more freely, where especially if you don't know this person very well, they may present themselves in a very Mars or masculine way when they're by themselves, they have a much more softer, much more demure energy to them. Now, when it comes to these energies over here, we have the Empress and the King of Swords and Temperance. I feel like this person is quite balanced. This is Sagittarian energy as well. They may be quite free-spirited, but I feel like they are quite emotionally balanced. They have this intense water energy, but they are quite balanced in the way that they feel it. I feel like they feel things. They may be a bit moody. They may tend to swing from one extreme to the other, but they know ultimately how to bring themselves back from one extreme. I feel like they've not perfected, but they've adjusted, especially if they're a bit older, they've adjusted to those mood swings, and they're able to kind of control that emotionalness, that emotional vulnerability quite well. They also have, I feel like they do have a good blend of being grounded, especially since we do have the Queen of Pentacles over here. We also have Justice as well, which we'll get to in a second. Balanced in that way of balancing spirituality and practicality. They may swing more one way or the other, but they do know how to bring themselves back from one extreme to the other. I feel like this person, I feel like their life is a lot of like extremes, and they are constantly trying to keep themselves in the middle. I feel like, again, you know, this Justice energy over here, I feel like they are always kind of trying to seek balance. I feel like they are quite a balanced person. I feel like this person doesn't quite like extremes. I feel like they like quite a bit of balance. They may have Libran influence as well, especially with the King of Swords and the Empress here. They may have a lot of Libra. They may have Libra in their chart. They may present themselves in a more Libran way. We do have a lot of air energy here. I do feel like this person is likely a very good communicator, especially since they're showing up as the King of Swords. Now, this is Libra energy, air energy, as well as the Empress. The Empress is Taurus and Libra. This person has quite prominent Libra in their chart. Especially with Justice showing up over here. We have a lot of swords. We have this person likely has a lot of water or fire or air in their chart. Now with the Empress, I do feel like they are quite creative, very abundant. I feel like they are they may have this nice motherly aspect to them. I feel like you probably don't see that. You may see that, but it may not be as prominent as it is. They are very, very, they have a lot of self-worth, especially with the Queen of Pentacles over here. They have a lot of self-worth. They have a lot of self-respect. Again, going back to that Virgin card, they have a lot of respect for themselves, a lot of respect for their body. They don't allow people to mistreat them, which is where this King of Swords energy comes in. Again, and they have a really good blend of masculine and feminine energies. I feel like they kind of know the balance. They might be a bit quick to cut people off, especially with the King of Swords here. I feel like they are very, very protective of this Empress energy of them. I feel like the Empress energy doesn't come out with many people. I feel like very, very few people get the Empress, Queen of Pentacles energy. And I feel like a lot of people tend to get the King of Swords energy because they are so protective of this waterness. A lot of people get the Mars energy. A lot of people get the King of Swords energy because they're trying to protect the water, the Empress. They're trying to protect that Virgin, right? So they may be, they're a very good communicator. They're very, very intelligent, especially with that Aquarian, that Gemini energy. There's a lot of air here. This person, it probably is a very good communicator. They're probably very, very good at speaking, and they're probably very well spoken as well. I'm hearing like big words. Like they know a lot of like big words. They have an extensive vocabulary. They're very eloquent. Speaking of big words, but the King of Swords, I feel like they may be a bit. I feel like they can be a bit cold, and you may perceive this as being a bit inconsistent, especially since we're having the Knight eventually becomes the King, right? So you're seeing this in a way that. I feel like you're seeing it in a way that is a bit fumbly, but it is actually quite refined. I feel like you kind of see it as being a bit inconsistent, whereas this person kind of says things and then that's final, and then they make decisions and then that's final. And you may see them as being a bit flip-floppy, but I don't feel as though they are perceiving it in that way in their head. I feel like they are saying things very firmly. They may be a bit cold, they may be a bit cutting, but I feel like they have to be. They feel as though they have to be in order to protect this Empress energy that they have kind of hidden beneath this King of Swords energy. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of Libra, a lot of Taurus. They're quite creative as well. Again, I feel like they're very, very motherly. I feel like, especially with that friends, I feel like they are quite protective of their friends. But I also feel like they may have a habit of cutting their friends off if they get a little bit, I'm hearing like out of line. If their friends get out of line, they're not afraid to cut them off. They're not afraid to bring out this Mars energy. They're not afraid to present themselves in a masculine way. I feel like this person has a really, really good grasp. Again, I feel like this person, that Temperance energy, they have a really good balance of masculine and feminine energies. Whether or not they are more naturally masculine or more naturally feminine, they have a good blend of both of those energies. We have be bold to make the first move, we have trust, and we have let go of expectations. I feel as though you may not trust this person. I'm not quite sure why you don't trust this person. Maybe this person did something, or they presented themselves in a more Martian way, and you are more perceptive to a more watery way. Or vice versa. But there's a bit of trust here. I feel like this person also has some trust issues. I feel like this person, there's just a lot of trust issues here. I'm not quite sure what that is. You're going to have to, take whatever, you're going to have to take whatever resonates for your situation. But there are some trust issues here. I feel like you kind of expect a lot from this person. I feel like you kind of built this person up in your head, especially with this God energy. I feel like you really see this person as very, very high up. They're on a very, very high pedestal, and I feel like it's almost, especially with people to make the first move here, then there's that cardinal moon, right? Cardinal moon is Aries energy. It's very Martian energy, and especially if you are a more say this person presents themselves in a very masculine way, if you are a person who tends to kind of sit back and allow people to chase you, if you have a more I almost said subservient, but that doesn't sound like a very nice word. If you have a softer, more feminine energy, you may do the chasing. You may not like to do the chasing. And this situation may be calling for you to kind of make that first move, because I feel like although this person presents themselves in a very, very sharp, very matter-of-fact, very masculine way, they are quite demure. They are quite that virgin, right? They are quite very watery. And I feel as though you've kind of built them up in your head so much that it almost intimidates you from experiencing them. I don't know why I heard that, but it limits you from experiencing this person, because you see them and you've put them on such a pedestal that it's almost like they're unattainable now. They're unattainable because you're expecting so much of them, or you're expecting them to reject you, or you're expecting them to be a certain way, when in reality they are not entirely different. They do hold these qualities, especially with the King of Swords here, but they're much more soft. They have a lot more feminine energy than I think that they're letting on. They present themselves in a very, very masculine way. And again, I feel like they present themselves in a masculine way in order to protect the very feminine way that they are naturally. They're trying to protect this Empress with this Martian energy that they put forward. And I don't necessarily think it's an act. I just think that they have a very good blend of masculine and feminine energy, and they kind of know when to be masculine in groups, in social situations, and with their friends, with the people that they can trust, and they are more. I do feel as though there's quite a lot of karma here with Justice. I feel like this is a quite a karmic heavy situation. Again, that Libra energy. They are quite balanced. They're quite balanced. Again, this person seems to be all about balance. I feel like they really appreciate balance. They appreciate balance in a relationship. If this is more of a love reading, then they appreciate balance in a relationship. I feel like they're uncomfortable if one person is giving too much and the other person, or if one person is giving or receiving too much, then they can be a bit uncomfortable with that. I feel like they really enjoy balance in life and in general. I do want to say with the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Cups, the Four of Cups is an interesting energy. When I was shuffling, the Three of Cups in reverse did want to pull forward. So it's possible that this could be a third-party situation. The Queen of Pentacles can talk about the other woman. So this person, this person may be working on. You may be ignoring them to work on your self-worth. They may be ignoring you to work on their self-worth, but there's this element of you not looking at them. You're not looking at them. You're not looking at the cup that they have to offer. This could be because you put them on such a pedestal, because you don't want to make the first move, because you don't trust them. But whatever reason, I feel like someone is not looking at someone. Someone is not looking at someone quite possibly in favor of money, in favor of the other woman, in favor of their self-worth. There's a lot of this energy of not looking at each other. The Queen of Pentacles is earth energy as well. The Queen of Pentacles and the Empress can sometimes take on a similar energy. The Empress is very earthly. You know, the Empress is the embodiment of all of the queens. So this person is the embodiment. You know, they've got that Empress, they've got that King of Swords, they've got that Queen of Pentacles, they've got that water. They're quite a complex human being, quite a complex person. I am kind of wanting to know a little bit more about this Four of Cups situation, just to kind of see what's going on with this Four of Cups. Can we clarify this Four of Cups, please? Whoa, look at that. Yeah, wow, look at that. Knight of Swords, Temperance, Four of Cups, back of deck. And we got the Empress again with the Page of Cups. The back of deck is the Knight of Cups. So someone is definitely wanting to offer some kind of cup of love here. And they're wanting to come in quite quickly with it as well. We have the Knight of Swords again. But again, I feel like they're being quite balanced. I feel like they are taking their time with this. Temperance can talk about patience as well. I feel like this person is quite patient. This person is very, very patient. Again, with that Empress energy, we have the Empress twice. We have the Queen of Pentacles. You know, the Queen of Pentacles takes her time. The Queen of Pentacles is in no rush. The Queen of Pentacles will take her time to do something. I feel like this person is very, very patient. They may be a bit of a perfectionist as well. I feel like they're quite abundant. I feel like whatever they touch as well, I feel like they kind of have like the Midas touch or whatever, where whatever they touch kind of blooms. But yeah, I do feel as though someone is definitely wanting to kind of rush in with some kind of romantic offer or romantic gesture, but they're taking their time. They're being very patient. Someone here is working on their self-care, or they're just being patient and waiting for the right time, divine timing. But I do feel as though there is some kind of romantic offer that's wanting to be made. Yeah, definitely someone wants to send a message to someone. Whoa. Okay. We're getting the King of Pentacles, the Lovers, and we are getting the Three of Cups back of deck. If this is third party, take whatever resonates. But we are getting the King of Pentacles to complement the Queen of Pentacles. So I do feel as though it is possible that one of the parties here is working on their career, their abundance, in order to be like a match for this Queen of Pentacles. You know, we do have the Lovers here. I feel like someone's really in their head about this connection. Someone has a lot a lot that they're thinking about. It could be that someone has a lot of options, and so someone is kind of, taking their time to decide whether they want, one party or the other. But I'm not really getting third party here super heavily. But yeah, I do feel like this person is, they may get a bit stuck in their head. They may have a lot of ideas, especially since we got the Empress twice. The Empress is very, very creative as well. That Libra Taurus energy. This is Venus. So they may have a lot of creative ideas, and they may have a little bit of trouble focusing in on one creative idea. The Lovers is Gemini again, so they do have a lot of Gemini energy. I just feel like they talk a lot. They talk a lot, and they talk very fast with that Mercurial energy, coming through very strongly, that air energy. Yeah, I do definitely see this person kind of as, this person definitely is a divine counterpart. We're getting the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. We have the Empress. We don't really have the Emperor, but we do have the Empress twice. This person is very, very abundant, very grounded, very stable. The Lovers is, duality, yin and yang. So I do feel like this person has, and Gemini is the twins, so Gemini is all about, yin yang. And again, I feel like this person is very patient. This person has a very, very good blend of masculine and feminine energies. And I feel like you are seeing, the Martian qualities of their personality, but I'm not quite sure that you've seen the much softer elements of their personality yet. But this situation is really wanting you to not only let go of the expectations that you have of this person, let go of how you think that they will respond to you, how you feel as though they are. I feel like your image of them in your head is quite, you see them as God, right? You see them as God. You see them as this benevolent figure when they are in fact just a virgin. So everybody is just human, right? No one is above or below other people. We are all on the path of spiritual enlightenment. Some of us may be a bit further than others, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are unattainable or they are above other people. We're all just people. So this wants you to kind of let go of those expectations that you have of this person. They want you to trust not only them, but they want you to trust the situation. The situation is calling for you to have faith. So have faith in this connection. This does feel like a divine partner here. They also want you to make the first move. So maybe you haven't spoken to this person because they're intimidating, because they have this very intense Martian energy, or maybe you want to, express that love that you have for them, but you're afraid maybe of hurting them with the Ten of Swords. Maybe you have something to say that might hurt their feelings. But I feel as though they are quite, they are much more, where is it? They are much more stable. They are very, very stable. They're much more stable. They're much more balanced than I think you're giving them credit for. So, yeah. So that is what I have for you, pile 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. So if you chose pile 3, then this is your reading. You guys chose communication. I'm going to do things a little bit differently this video, and I'm going to actually set up, and then we will come back and we will discuss what I have. So I will be right back. I feel like you see them as, Sagittarian energy is very free, very free-spirited. I feel like maybe you see them as well-traveled or very well-educated. Sagittarius rules higher education as well, college, things like that. So you may see them as quite intelligent, quite well-educated. Sagittarian energy can be a bit foot in mouth as well, so maybe you see them as, especially with this, this fire energy over here, you may see them, and we also have a knight over here, so you may see them as a bit, perhaps a bit blunt with their words, with that fire energy. You may see them as very blunt, very straightforward, very matter of fact. They may also be very spiritual. Sagittarian energy is, spirituality, not just, spiritual things, but it can also be, Western religions as well, common religions, Christianity, things like that. So you may see them as just a very religious or spiritual person. With detective, I feel like they are quite observant. I'm getting almost a bit of scorpionic energy here with this person. I feel like they are quite intuitive. I feel like, especially with that Sagittarius, I feel like they can find out information quite easily. I feel like it doesn't take a lot of research for them to, and she has a book here as well. I feel like, I definitely feel like you feel as though they are very well educated, very well read. I feel like you see them as very passionate, very warm, very welcoming, very inviting. They may be a bit of a social butterfly. They may flourish in social situations. They may be a bit hot-headed as well, especially with this Knight of Wands energy and this Sagittarius. They may be a bit hot-headed. With the Eight of Cups here, now the Eight of Cups is very, very interesting, especially with this combination of cards here. We have the Eight of Cups, we have the Knight of Wands, and then we have the Queen of Pentacles. So, looking at them separately, you may feel as though this person has walked away from something or a situation that doesn't serve them, or maybe you see them as walking away from old emotions or an old situation. With the Queen of Pentacles here, I feel like you see them as having quite a bit of self-worth, or you may see them as kind of working on their career. Maybe you see them as very abundant, very self-sufficient, they stand on their own, basically. What is the word I'm looking for? Independent. They're a very independent person. And then the Knight of Wands, maybe you see them as quite fiery, maybe a little bit inconsistent sexually, or maybe you see them as kind of a fling. Maybe you see them as they kind of ride in whenever they want something more physical, especially with that Queen of Pentacles energy, something a bit more physical, and then they kind of run away when they don't want that physical thing anymore. A bit of inconsistency here with the Knight of Wands. This is also a bit of player energy, a little bit of fuckboy energy, fuck person energy. Reading them together as I'm wanting to, I feel as though maybe you see them as kind of walking away from you. Maybe they walked away from you to work on their self-worth, or work on their money, or work on their abundance, and maybe they only kind of come in when they want something more physical, or maybe the physical aspects of your relationship is a bit inconsistent. Or maybe you kind of see them as this very nurturing, abundant person, and you're wanting to kind of only, you see them in a very abundant way. Yeah, but I do get that you see them as walking away. You see them as walking away from either you or a situation or something. You see them as walking away from something. I will get a clarifier on that in a bit, but I want to kind of get through this first. So when it comes to how they actually are, we have Leo energy here. I feel like they are quite focused. I feel like they have a lot of willpower. I feel like they are quite giving, quite open-hearted as well, especially since we have the Six of Pentacles. I feel like this person is quite giving financially. I feel like they like to kind of provide for their friends. I feel like they're quite the they may be a bit flashy as well, like especially if they have money, they may be the person to be like, oh, well, what do you want? Like, I got you. Like, do you want something to eat? Like what do you want? I got you. Very, very giving in that way, but they may have a tendency to be a bit overindulgent here with Taurus as well. They may be a bit overindulgent. They may overspend. They may be a bit flashy in their way of, they may be a gift giver, in their way of showing affection for their loved ones. Leo is very, very giving, very, very giving with their money. And especially with Taurus energy here, Taurus can be a bit indulgent. They can be a bit, they can be a bit overindulgent. They can overeat. They can overspend. They can over-sexualize themselves. They can be a bit, they're very indulgent energy. but they are quite stable, quite sensual. Taurus is a very sensual energy. With Saboteur here, I feel as though they may have a habit of self-sabotaging. They may kind of trip over their own feet when it comes to, you know, interpersonal relationships or situations. They may be a bit stubborn. They may fear change as well. Taurus and Leo are both fixed energy. They're very fixed. They can be very stubborn, very stuck in their ways, and this may be a downfall of theirs. This may be why they kind of get in their own way, because they're quite stubborn, quite stubborn. 9 of Swords and the 10 of Wands. I feel as though this person tends to take on a lot. I feel like they have a lot of hefty responsibility, a lot of hefty burdens that they have in their life. They're quite in their head. I feel like they have quite a bit of I'm almost getting mental illness from the 9 of Swords here, which I don't normally get, so that may resonate. Okay, you know what I'm actually getting? Interesting. Very, very interesting. With these additional cards here, we have surrender to the divine intervention, and let go of control issues. I feel as though, you know, you are being directed from relationships and situations that no longer serve. For some of you, this isn't going to resonate for all of you, but for some of you, the universe is kind of wanting to, like, direct you away from this person or this situation, especially with the Eight of Cups here. It's wanting you to, you know, trust that things happen for a greater divine purpose. Everything is unfolding as it should. I feel like for some of you, and if this is resonating, you'll know it, the universe is kind of wanting to kind of like shift you into another direction. There are a lot of swords here, a lot of like, sword energy. So allow this situation to unfold naturally. So I'm getting almost this feeling of like clutching onto them, like it's very like, if this person has walked away from you, you're kind of like, no, like, I need you, come back. But the universe is kind of wanting to like shift you. And if that's not resonating, then you may just be needing to let go of control of the situation. You may be, again, that energy of like, that fixed energy of like wanting to control them. It may be that they have like a lot on their plate right now. They have a lot that's going on for them. And they have a lot of things that are stressing them out, and a lot of things that they have on their plate, a lot of things that they're carrying. And it may be that the universe is kind of wanting you to not engage, not do that anymore, especially if they're kind of, especially if they have like Knight of Wands fuckboy energy or fuck person energy. They may be only coming in for when they want something, be it, sexually or financially. They may kind of only come into your life when they want something from you. I do feel as though if this situation is not quite panning out in a way that you expected or a way that you wanted, it's because there's a lot of divine intervention here, a lot of kind of redirection, kind of refocusing. I definitely get this feeling of you kind of being like no, like if they've walked away, it's kind of you being like, no, like, come back. Communication may be an issue here. You may be in no communication with this person. I'm feeling like the universe is really kind of wanting you to kind of like let go of this situation, let go of this person, at least for the time being. Because I just feel like the universe is kind of, any rejection you faced, see it as a redirection to something greater for you. Let go of the need to understand or make sense of it. Trust that things happen for a greater divine purpose. It's interesting, this depiction of the Eight of Swords, I've never noticed, but she's tied to a pole here. And it's like you want to move forward, either away from them or towards them, but you are trapped. And it's kind of like you're trapped in this period of this mental headspace, And, you know, maybe, you know, it is possible that this person, if this person has walked away, it's because this situation was a bit overwhelming for them, a bit overwhelming and a bit too much, especially if they're focusing on their money, especially if they are kind of inconsistent. They only kind of hop in when they want something more sexual, and then they kind of hop out when they want to focus on their money. I want to clarify this Eight of Cups energy, please. Clarify the Eight of Cups. Yeah, I feel like they wanted some kind of victory somewhere else. Yeah. They're wanting, can we clarify that? I feel like they wanted, I'm just feeling as though this situation is not quite, I'm just feeling as though this situation is not quite what they were expecting or quite what they wanted. I just feel as though they have a bit of fuckboy energy, a bit of fuck person energy. And I feel like they're putting a lot of their energy into their money right now. Their focus is very much on their finances, and I don't really feel like they're looking for anything super serious or super committed, and that may be why they have a very inconsistent feel about them. So I definitely feel as though, let me clarify this. Someone is definitely walking away from someone here, and I'm just getting the feeling that, it was quite shocking. I feel like their departure was quite shocking. I'm just feeling, there may have been a tower moment that caused someone to walk away here. Maybe they found out some kind of information that they weren't huge fans of, and I feel like it caused them a bit of stress and a bit of it was just a bit too much for them right now. I feel like they are very focused on if they are in school, then they're very focused on their education. They're very focused on their money right now, and I feel like they kind of feel like they just don't really have time for this right now. And I feel like any energy that they're going to give you is sexual energy. It's not something very committed or very serious. Yeah, I'm just feeling as though, I'm just feeling as though they're wanting, okay, I don't really know how to put this, like, gently. But I just feel as though they're kind of wanting to build somewhere else. I feel like whatever information came out, they weren't, it's causing them to kind of distance themselves. They may still be kind of, if they are still in your life, it may only be for something physical. Do feel like they are trying to distance themselves emotionally, because I just feel like whatever this tower moment was, can we talk about this tower moment? What was the tower moment? This tower moment wasn't isn't something that they're interested in for the long haul. It is possible that this was something third party. Maybe someone had, another option. Maybe someone, I'm just feeling as though this person is looking at other options. They either always were looking at other options, or because of this tower moment, they are now looking at other options. And I feel like you're still wanting to hold on to them, but I feel like you're really being guided to kind of let them go. If they want to walk away, then you can't really stop them. You can try, but at the end of the day, they're gonna do whatever they want to do. Especially if they have that, that Sagittarian energy. Yeah, they're just taking they're taking time out for themselves right now, and I don't really feel like they're going to be putting too much energy into this in the future. There may have been like an argument or a fight. They may not have left on super great terms. Yeah, I just feel like they're just trying to kind of move on from the situation. I feel like they're definitely very focused on their money. I feel like they're very, very money focused right now. I definitely do feel, we're closing on the world here, so I do feel like this has kind of, this has run its course. If there is any other communication, I do think it will be mostly closure based, but I definitely feel like this person, I feel like you are wanting communication from them, but I feel like at the end of the day, they've kind of made up their mind about the situation. They've kind of checked out a little. I just feel like they're kind of wanting to build. They're wanting to build elsewhere. So the most likely outcome, I feel like this situation is run its course. I do feel like this person is probably going to keep their distance, at least for the foreseeable future. This person may cling. They may cling on to you. There's definitely change happening here. They may cling, but if they cling to you, it will be mostly for financial reasons or sexual reasons. But at the end of the day, they want to maintain their independence here, the Nine of Pentacles. So if they stay in your life, it won't be for anything committed. I just see a lot of balance, balancing you and work or other people, and I definitely see more pettiness, more fights happening. So I definitely think that the universe is kind of wanting you to kind of let this go, at least for the time being, for the foreseeable future. But yeah, so that's probably not what you wanted to hear. But that is what I have for you, Pile 3. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. So if you guys chose Pile 4, then this is your reading. I'm going to do things a little bit differently this video, and I'm going to lay all the cards out, and then we will discuss what we have. Okay? So, yeah. What we have. So it's actually interesting. I don't normally read these in reverse, but I was feeling really called to read them in reverse. You see this person in a very, a very interesting way. We have 12th house escape here. So I feel like you see this person as kind of a bit of an escapist. You may see them as having a bit of an addiction with the devil energy here. A lot of earth energy here. I feel like you see this person as kind of needing to be saved. I feel like you see them as quite abundant, quite creative, I feel like you see them as your ideal person. The shadow attribute for damsel is waiting for a knight to provide for you, seduction by romantic illusion. I feel like you see them as kind of like needing to be saved. It's almost like, almost a bit Romeo and Juliet. Like you see them out there in like, you watch them, you see them as quite balanced. I just feel like you see them as like a temptation. You see them as, if you are married, if you are like engaged with another person, if this is like third party, then I feel like you see them as a temptation. I feel like you see them as the potential to step out on a current situation. You see them as needing to be saved, but also like your escape, like your way out. With Jupiter can have kind of a high class. I feel like you see them as like very, very well, like very put together, very classy. I feel like you see them as like enjoying like the finer things in life. Like I feel like you see them as very abundant, very very standing in their own power. But then there's also the temptation. I want to go right into clarifying, but I want to get through this first. I feel like they kind of have heightened your spiritual awareness as well. You see them as very balanced, very patient as well. You see them as very patient. You may even see them as like well-traveled or very well-educated. I'm going to go into what they're actually like, because I really want to clarify this energy up here. I really want to know what this is about. I really want to know, like, are you the one who's wanting to be saved, or are you wanting to save them? Because that's a little unclear here. It could really go either way. You see them as this, I'm hearing like almost otherworldly person, but there's this temptation here. And maybe you see them as having an addiction, or maybe you see them as, yeah, I'm just hearing like stepping out, like you would be stepping out on like a marriage or a prior commitment. But you see them as very high class, like very well put together, very well spoken, very well educated, and they are in fact very well spoken. We have Gemini here, we also have air element communicating. So I feel like they are quite a good communicator. You may see that, you may not. That's a bit unclear here. They are very fair too with the judge as well. A lot of Libra, there's Libra energy here. There's also Earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. So we have the Virgo card over here. We have the Empress, which is Libra and Taurus. We have Capricorn over here. We have the King of Pentacles, which again is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We have Gemini energy. We have Sagittarius energy. We also have Pisces energy. So this little bit of delusion here with Pisces, and this feeling of needing to kind of rescue them or needing to escape. Maybe you feel like you need to escape a situation that you feel chained to be with this person. But they are quite the communicator. I feel like they are quite, there's a lot of there's a lot of talk about balance here, a lot of being balanced. I feel like this person is quite balanced. And they are very, very, very good at communicating. They're a very good communicator. They may even be in, I don't know why I heard position of power, but they may be in a position in which they kind of regulate balance. They kind of keep things at an equilibrium. This is an interesting energy to have. It's very interesting because we have the Ten of Swords here, which is being victimized and stabbed in the back. So maybe they feel, maybe there was a situation in which they feel as though a bit betrayed. Maybe something was said or something was done, but they do feel a bit victimized here. They feel a bit stabbed in the back. There's quite a bit of pain here that this person feels. And this may not be about the situation. They may just be a person who has dealt with a lot of like swords in the back, a lot of betrayal. This may not be necessarily anything having to do with you. We do have the Fool here. They may be a bit, I feel like they can be a bit naive. I feel like they can be, I'm hearing like childlike. They can be a bit childlike as well. Again, Gemini has a very childlike energy. Gemini is very very young, very youthful. They may have a very youthful energy. They may be younger than you. There may be a bit of an age gap here. Or maybe they just act a bit young. They might just be a bit foolish. They might be a little bit foolish. And with the Hermit here, I feel like they are, we have Virgo here twice here. This is Virgo energy as well. A lot of mix of energies here today. A lot of Libra, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Libra, Gemini, a little bit of Pisces, a little bit of Sagittarius, predominantly Virgo, Libra, and Gemini. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like they're kind of in hiding right now. I feel like they're not really talking to you. I don't really feel like you guys are in communication right now. If you are, there's very little. There may be a bit of a separation right now. I just don't really feel like you guys are in communication. You guys are talking. They may be a bit fearful of this connection. They may be a bit wary that if they were to kind of start new, that they would be victimized, they would be hurt, so they kind of retreat from the connection because they don't really trust that it would be a good situation, especially since we have the devil here, especially if this is a third party thing. They may be a bit wary of that. We do have the "you are good enough" card. So if you, that's a very interesting energy. We have "you are good enough," we have "flirt," and we have "patience." I feel like this person, you may flirt with this person, or this person may flirt with you. That may kind of be their way of gauging the situation. I feel like maybe the most that you guys have done is flirt, or your experience with them is mainly flirtatious. Again, we have, this element, this Sagittarian, temperance, patience energy here a couple of times. There is a reason or a connection or opportunity may not be happening yet. Trust in divine timing. I feel like this has kind of taken place over an extended period of time. I feel like this has, this person may be very patient. I feel like you are also very patient, but I feel like this connection has taken a while to kind of unfold. I don't necessarily feel as though things are done between the two of you. I do feel as though there is kind of this Fool energy here, which can talk about new beginnings, but I do want to clarify. I feel like some of you kind of feel like you're not good enough for this person. And you may be focusing on your money with the King of Pentacles. Maybe you feel as though they have, because if you see them in this kind of like high class, very Sagittarian, sort of Empress way, you may feel as though they wouldn't accept you, or they just wouldn't accept you. This is kind of letting you know that you're good enough, and to not have those like self-doubts, to not have those beliefs. And with the Two of Wands here, I do kind of feel like you've kind of, you've got two paths that you can go on. I do feel like you are at a bit of a crossroads. This isn't necessarily the Seven of Swords, so it's not that you're not making a decision. It's just that I feel like you have made a decision for a lot of you, but I feel like you are kind of taking your time. You're being very patient in going towards what it is that you've decided to do, basically. Yeah, I do feel as though, I feel like someone was cut off here. I feel like someone was definitely cut off kind of abruptly and a bit, maybe even a little bit harshly with the Queen of Swords here. We do have that like communicating energy. So I feel like maybe this person was a bit maybe harsh with their words when they left. Maybe some harsh words were said. I definitely feel like there was a little bit of juggling going on. There was a lot of like, I'm just getting a lot of sneakiness too. Yeah, there's the Three of Cups. So this definitely is like a third party thing, or it was third party. Someone was definitely interested in the sexual aspects of this. I just feel like someone was a little bit in their ego here. Someone was a little in their ego, and maybe they had a couple of people involved. But I feel as though someone here is or was more interested in the sexual aspects of the relationship than they were or are anything solid. We do have the Three of Cups here, so I feel like, I definitely do feel like this is kind of a love triangle. So someone was burdened here. Someone was burdened either sexually, or they were just overwhelmed, and the Tower moment was that they put down the burden and they ended things. They ended it because they didn't like what was going on. They didn't like being a third party thing. They were at a crossroads. They didn't like that there was sneakiness going on. They didn't like that there was third party. And so they put down the burden and they cut you off. There could be a pregnancy here. There could be a child involved here. That could have been part of the Tower moment. Yeah, there's a lot of sneakiness here. Yeah. I definitely think someone was in a commitment. Man, y'all are wild. Yeah, now there's just a lot of regret. There's a lot of regret and loss. Because it could have been something good. It could have been something good if someone just hadn't lied. If someone had been honest, if you'd been honest, if you had been honest from jump, it could have been something good. But instead, there were lies and there were deceit. Now someone feels left out in the cold. And there's an ending. There's transformation, but this is reading more like an ending. There was a spark somewhere else, and someone found out about it. Y'all are wild. Y'all are so wild. Pile 4. My pile 4s always have the most wild storylines. So, like, you watch them, and you watch them be on their own. Some of you, like, literally stalk them. Like, I feel like some of y'all are really trying to think about doing this again. You're trying to think about doing this again with someone new, with someone else. It's like, and y'all didn't learn your lesson. You didn't learn your lesson from the first time this didn't go your way. The most likely outcome. Okay. The most likely outcome as of right now is you guys are going to do this again with someone new. You're wanting to do this again with someone else, with someone new. And it's not going to go your way. It's just not going to go your way. It's not going to go your way. Yeah, you're wanting to do this again with someone else. And it might work, but not for long. Not for very long. Because I'm going to be honest, y'all aren't very good at hiding. Whatever it is, whatever this other relationship is, you're not very good at hiding it. Because people know. People know that you're in this relationship. This relationship is very public. So eventually, word of mouth, it gets back to the person that you're juggling. The person that you're juggling, it gets back to them. Y'all are ridiculous. Y'all are ridiculous. And this person's just going to cut you off. They're going to cut you off like the other person did. And you're just going to, repeat the cycle. You're going to repeat the cycle. You're not going to learn your lesson. Because you didn't learn it last time. You didn't learn it the time before. Yep. Yeah. You didn't learn your lesson. Because you're too in your ego. You're too in your ego to admit that you were wrong. Yeah. Homie, don't do it. Learn your lessons. Learn your lessons. Because this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Y'all keep on making the same mistakes because you don't want to admit that you're wrong, because you don't want to admit that maybe you fucked up. Get out of your ego. Get out of your ego and learn your lessons. That's all I have for you, Pile 4. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Y'all wilds. You wilds. Wilds. Absolutely fucking wilds. Just absurd. Absurd. Good day.